Here's my point. My point is that it's all about inspiration, feeling inspired to get up every morning. You know what? I thought about this a long time ago. Many years ago, I used to suffer from depression. And I used to. I have not suffered from depression since 1977. But I used to be very, very depressed. And I didn't have much of a motivation for getting up in the morning. I didn't feel very inspired about life. I felt like it's really, really kind of dreary way of looking at the world. And I think that's what a lot of people feel. They feel a kind of dreariness, a kind of, what's the point? What's the use? Why should I get up in the morning? Why should I go to work? Why should I do anything? There's just no point to it. Your whole life becomes pointless. And you know what? That is exactly how I felt. I felt like, and you know, it's funny that even if you become successful, you could have stuff, you could be rich, you could have money, and you still feel this kind of sense of pointlessness. Not that I've ever been rich before, but you see that this is true. It becomes one of them things that you know it in the same way you know if you stick your hand in a meat grinder, it'll get ground up. I've never had my hands. I still got both my hands. I've never been stuck in a meat grinder. So, you know, you can know things without having direct experience. You know that people can have a sense of meaninglessness in life. And my life felt very meaningless and pointless. You know, yeah, I had my religion back then. I had all my stuff. I don't follow that religion, but that's not what cured me, so to speak, of my depression. What kind of cured me was the fact that I began to get up and start doing something. But it was more to it than that. There was a book, and I have to go back to, you know, and give credit where credit is due. You know, back in 1977, I remember reading this book, a self-help book called Your Erroneous Zones, written by Wayne Dyer. And I followed the things that he said in that book. I really learned those things that he talked about and put it into practice. So I'm giving a plug out for his book. And it helped me. And it got me into a point where I began to think I could write a book about this. Because what it is it's really a matter of changing your attitude. You have to change your attitude and change your thinking in term, you know. And ever since then, that's when my idea for writing a book was first born back in 1977. And I've been thinking about that ever since then. I've been writing and taking notes and studying myself and just studying the human consciousness. And I think that, you know, I kind of think the birth of religion is that people use it as a way of motivating themselves. You know, what kind of holds us back a lot of times are fears. When we're afraid of things, we sometimes we can feel overwhelmed by all the stuff that we become aware of. As human beings, we are conscious of a lot of things. We're conscious of the fact that we're going to die one day. You know, I think that other animals aren't aware of that fact. I mean, they could see another dead one of their own species, but they somehow do not have that self-consciousness of the fact that, gee, one day that could be me. You know, I could be that dead pigeon. You know, a pigeon looks at another pigeon, or a squirrel sees another dead squirrel and say, oh my God, one day that's going to happen to me. I don't think they think that way. I don't think their minds can process stuff that way. But humans can look at it and say, yeah, one day that's going to be me. I'm going to be dead. And that consciousness is kind of like, it has a big impact on us, that we're aware. And all the stuff that we're aware of, that we can get sick, that things can happen to us, that we can have accidents, it can be overwhelming if you focus on it and think about it and just, it's like, and so you have to come up with a method of dealing with it. And I think that's where religion was born, as a method of dealing with things in our own consciousness. It's not even so much dealing with things in the physical world, because, you see, dogs and cats and pigeons and squirrels and everything else, they don't have religion. They don't need religion. They don't need religion. Humans need religion, or something like a religion. A method. Really, all religion is, in a sense, a kind of technology. It's a method of dealing with this burden of consciousness. And I think that's what it comes down to. The burden of consciousness. Because when that burden gets too much on us, then we no longer feel motivated. We no longer feel inspired. And then we stop, you know, just we lose interest in life, and we just sort of sit there and we get depressed. And we need some type of system that can build us up. And the system has to be, just like any other technology, it has to be improved. We see flaws in it, we see bugs in it, and we have to kind of tweak it. We improve. Just like we improved the airplane. You know, you think back to the Wright brothers airplane and compare it over a period of time as planes were developed and improved on. And even now, there's still improvements. We can make it safer and better and make airplanes quieter and more fuel efficient and so on and so forth. The technology will constantly keep evolving. Religion is a technology. I think first and foremost, before you think of religion as anything else, think of it as a technology. Maybe the oldest technology. A technique of overcoming all of these obstacles like fear and anxiety. And it has to be improved. And you know, that's what I'm thinking about, is really trying to develop other techniques. Not necessarily religious, but just techniques for improving things. For getting people inspired, getting people to feel motivated to do something, to feel that life matters. Because when you feel motivated, when you feel that life matters, that's when you're happy. I know the difference. I know from the days when I used to be depressed and from the way things are now. I feel inspired. I feel happy. I feel good. I get up here, I make videos, I put them up on YouTube, I do things. And that's what I'm about. I'm about just trying to develop and tweak this technology. You can call it whatever you want to. It doesn't necessarily have to be religion. It can just be the technology of inspiration.